So I just learned something about the good book, the Bible, today that just blows my mind. All right. Well, the first three words of the Bible, translated in English, it's in the beginning. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth and the heavens and the earth, I think, off the top of my head. I can't remember. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. All right, well, we know for a fact the Bible wasn't written in English. It was translated in the Old Testament. The first 5 books of the Old Testament are literally the Hebrew Torah, the Jewish book. I'm not sure all the books in various Jewish religion, but we know for a fact that the first 5 books, the Mosaic laws essentially, of the Torah are the first 5 books of our Old Testament. So, Bereshit is literally the first word in the Hebrew, the Torah of the Hebrew language, Bereshit. What does Bereshit actually mean? Ironically, it does not mean in the beginning. It means in the beginning of. Some would say in a beginning, in any beginning. Seems like, at least in my quick look at this, most rabbis, well, I should say most, the ones I came across, believe it means in the beginning of. So, if we were to translate the Hebrew to English, why did we leave out the word of? Because it should say then, in the beginning of God created the heavens and the earth. Well, that doesn't make any sense. The beginning of God? In the beginning of God created the heavens and the earth? In the beginning of something, God created the heavens and the earth. That doesn't make sense either. In the beginning of what? In the beginning of God created heavens and earth. Well, of God, again, there's something missing there. Pretty fundamental thing, isn't it? Bereshit. I was reading this rabbi, he talks about there's 4 other instances of that word, Bereshit, used in the Torah. And all 4 make sense. In the beginning of Josh's life, in the beginning of the hockey game, they dropped the puck. The only time it doesn't make sense is the very first citing in the Torah. And again, that's our book too, our Old Testament. Isn't that interesting? I find it incredibly interesting. I'm not really sure I know what to make of that, but I think I have a suggestion for you guys. Inherently, the translation of the Bible is suspect into English. And maybe that's one of the reasons why the Catholics are so keen on, prosecuting, Martin Luther and whatnot for translating the Bible, knowing full well that the translation would be lost in literal translation. I don't know. Not defending it, I'm just making an observation here. To say, though, that this is the written word of God uttered from his mouth, when we have Bereshit, the very first word in the Torah, the Hebrew Bible, which we use, has different meanings. You can't say that. Which tells me, actually, it doesn't diminish God. You know what it does? It makes God that much bigger. He's beyond religion. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that beauty. God is so much above look at that. Our religion box we put him in. Andy Stanley used to talk about, I don't know if he still does, but man, let me just look at that, my friends. Gored to the gist. Look at that up there. That plasma called the moon. Anyway, Andy Stanley at the moon. Weird how no one's walked on that since 1973. It's weird, we've lost the technology. It's weird that NASA itself says we don't have the technology to go through the lower Earth orbit. Can't break through the Van Allen radiation belt, but we were able to do it 50 years ago. Come on. Anyway, the point being is, in religions, remember in the Bible of the Catholics, there's 73 books. In the Bible of Protestants, there's 66. The Bible of the Protestants, they have KJV, NIV, Amplified Bible, you name it. I don't know what the Catholics have. I'm not even sure if I have a Catholic Bible in my house. I'm sure I do, actually. because my wife's dad was very Catholic. And when he died, we got a lot of his books, of which some were Bibles. But anyway, I haven't read it. One of them's in Russian, as a matter of fact. Anyway, point being is, the idea that God can fit into this one book that's based on mistranslations of the original Hebrew, you have to wonder. You got to wonder, like, why? Why do we think God just fits this little box of religion when God is all things everywhere at all times? He's so much bigger than your religion. Does that mean I'm no longer a Christian? Not in the least. Not in the least. I'm more Christian now than I've ever been. Because I truly believe that Jesus is a chosen Son of God, rose from the dead on the third day, appeared to people who turned away from him. And to 536 other people, they saw the living Jesus Christ, the Son of God, the Son of Man. After he was executed, they saw him. Hundreds of people did. Where do I get that? I get that from the New Testament. 100%. I believe in it. 100%. Does that mean that for people who live in Amazon, people who live in, I don't know, freaking the mountains of Machu Picchu, if they don't believe in that specifically, God's got nothing for them? I don't believe so. I think God's so much bigger than our religion. I think God said, look, for some reason I chose you to follow Jesus. I don't know why, where, how. I don't know. A blessing for us to follow Jesus. Other people, maybe God chooses to follow something else. I don't know what it is. And frankly, it's none of my business. Now, I know the Great Commission. Matthew talks about the Great Commission. Preach the word and spread the word of Jesus. Spread the gospel to all corners of the world. I get that. And we should, as Christians. Does that mean that people who don't hear it are doomed? No, I don't think so. And frankly, you don't know either. You don't know. In fact, I'll just go back to C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis says, all right. Wait, what's that? Woo, what's that? C.S. Lewis, when you get to heaven and you turn from God, C.S. Lewis says, thy will be done. I don't condemn you. You condemn yourself by turning from me. And maybe you turn from me because you're so caught in the miniature way of looking at God. God, you're supposed to be Christian. God, you're supposed to be Catholic. God, you're supposed to be the KJV, the NIV, this, that, the other. And God's like, dude. And again, I don't know. Just thinking out loud. Take it for what it is. I am all things everywhere at all times. I am everything. I am. It's almost like that's from the Bible. I am. And yet, we want to put him in this little box. Like Andy Stanley, did I say this right now? He said, we got God in a vending machine. I'm going to deposit my 25 cents in, I'm going to pull, and I'm going to ask for a new job. I'm going to deposit my buck in, I'm going to pull, and I'm going to ask for a hot chick. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, God doesn't fit in a box. God is. I think it's easy for us to get caught up in the religion debate, which I think just makes God small. Of course, God is not small. It matters not. You know, it's, again, C.S. Lewis says the biggest impediment of the church is the church itself. And the church is the biggest source of animosity towards the church. And I think he's talking about the Christian church as a whole. I'm not quite convinced C.S. Lewis was a Catholic. I know he used to be atheist. I don't know what C.S. Lewis was in terms of his denomination. I frankly don't care. You know why? Because God isn't a denomination. God is everything. Anyway, I would encourage you to look into the Bible more and say, you know, what's the translations? Because remember, in the Hebrew, what I learned today from reading a rabbi, a different guy, he said, the old Hebrew, I guess there's 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. This guy was saying And the Hebrew versions of the Bible from the ancient times, there's no spaces. It's just a bunch, and they read right to left. Some of y'all probably knew that. I didn't know that. In the Hebrew, they read right to left. So anyway, they read right to left. There's no spaces. And how do you square that with our version of it? I don't think you can. I think the way you do is say, I don't know. I don't know, God. I'm not sure what's going on. But I do know I've been introduced to, and I know you love me, and you love me forever, and you want a personal relationship with me, because that's the Christian way we look at God. If you're not Christian, you don't have to be like that. You can do whatever you decide is between you and God. Who am I to impose my will on you? That's not for me. Other than to be a beacon of hope and light to people, say, I'm down on my luck. Maybe there's something about this God. Because I watched Josh, I watched some other guy, and they seem to be struggling with a lot of the same things I have struggles with. But they don't come across as arrogant or all-knowing. They come across as curious and contemplating. And I am curious and contemplating because I don't think anyone has all the answers. Stephen Hawking, come on. But he's so smart. Nah. Again, no one's got all the answers. So to assume otherwise is the epitome of arrogance, actually. Not just for Stephen Hawking, but for anybody. Your local Catholic preacher or a priest, nah. Your local preacher, nah. Your local atheist, nah. Sam Harris, nah. None of them do, man. No one knows nothing. But we've been blessed to have been touched by God. Let's not make more out of that than it needs to be. Just get down on your knees and pray for God's blessings, to pray to continue to hear his word, to touch your heart, to love him like you love yourself, to love him more than anything, and to love your neighbor like you love yourself. All right. God bless. Love to hear you. Hopefully no one gets too offended by this. Anytime you're talking scripture, Bible, Christianity, someone's bound to get offended, I can see. I just think that being offended when people talk about God is not a step forward, it's a step back. Let's step forward, brothers and sisters. All right, we'll see you.